Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my studio. Today I am going to be addressing the issue of whether or not, in order to be able to paint, you need to be able to draw. Now, I don't think that's true. I don't think you do need to be able to draw in order to be able to paint. And I think there are many, many artists out there right now who will prove that for me, because you see their paintings and their paintings are lovely, but their drawings aren't. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you believe in yourself. And so today I'm going to give you an idea for how you can start painting in watercolor, which is a great way to reduce the stress in your life. Once you're painting, you forget about all your troubles and woes, and but you don't need to worry about drawing at all. It's completely irrelevant. So we're going to get started straight away, and I shall kind of chat as we go along. I have a piece of paper here which is quite big. Don't be daunted by the size of the paper, because you're not going to paint on it all at once. This is 15 by 11. It's Meaden watercolor paper, cold press, and it is a nice texture, not too rough and not too smooth. A bit like the porridge, you know, not too hot, not too cold, but just right. So I've put some masking tape around the outside edge so that I've got a clean edge once I've finished. This is masking tape which I bought from Meaden. It comes in packs of, I think, 5 different widths, which is really quite convenient. And this is one of the narrowest ones, if not the narrowest one. And I've put that around the outside because that has now reduced my width of the paper down a little bit. And then I'm going to make it into squares or rectangles, depending on how you feel. So I'm going to call that 9 inches. Which means that I can divide it into 3 sections going this way, 3, 6, and 9. And same up here. Now, you might think, oh, this looks familiar. She's done this before recently, as indeed I have, for the challenge that we're doing at the moment. I divided up a smaller sheet, actually, into 3-inch squares. And funnily enough, actually, having done that, I thought, oh, they're a bit on the small side. So I'm going to make these ones a little bit more spaced out, I think. Well, I might do, I might not. But the paper is going to be bigger. So anyway, I'm losing my thread here again, as I do frequently. Yeah, that makes me think of my overlocker. Yes, losing your thread. You don't want to do that. Not on your overlocker, you don't. So if we do 4, what have we got here? We've got 12, 14. So that would be 3.5. So we should do, if we did 3.5, we could get 4 of them. So we do 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 and 7, that'll do. 3.5 and 7 and 10.5. Okay, so then we go across around about there. And what did I do there? 3.5 there. So we'll go across there and across here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So what we're going to do, I would like to thank Kate Leach for this idea of this what she calls a sampler. I'll show you her book. This is Kate Leach, presumably, creative watercolor or creative abstract watercolor. Very interesting book. I have recommended this a couple of times before. If you want to see a review of it step by step, you can go to the art book Nook of Kay, who has reviewed it page by page. And that will help you to decide whether or not you want to buy it. But you can't really go far wrong with this book. It's very inspiring and very interesting and very informative book. So I'm going to get started then, and I'm going to use my Kuretake Art Nouveau. And the reason why is because the great thing about this set is that all the colours go together. So whichever colours you choose from here to do your painting in, they will harmonise, which is really rather good. And basically you can choose, do you want to go for greens? You've got all these greens here. Do you want to go for beige? Do you want to go for pinks or blues? And it's not very strong on the blues, so probably would not go with the blue, but we've got a good selection of basically browns and beiges, good selection of pinks. So I don't know, what do you think? What colour should we go for? Shall we go for pink because pink is so popular? Shall we go for beige because beige is so neutral and nobody dislikes it? Shall we go for green because it's nice and spring-like? It's not very spring-like here at the moment, I have to say. So, I don't know. I'm tending towards the pink kind of thing with a bit of brown, maybe. So what we're going to do is we're going to use each of these squares and we're going to paint a collection of shapes in loose watercolor inside of those squares. So I don't know where to start. I think I'm going to start here, which is a kind of pinky beige. And, oh yes, I've got this postcard here, and I should mention this while I think of it. Join our newsletter, please. If you go to dianeantone.com, you'll find lots of interesting things there, including our sketches and our insider pass information. If you invest $1 in purchasing a Studio Insiders Pass, then you get 10 free sketches a month from our website. If you want more and you're a member of Patreon or YouTube membership, then you can have as many free sketches as you like. You just have to ask, but you automatically get 10 a month, whether or not you're a member. So you just have to give us $1 because it's a security thing. It's just a security thing. That's what the website demands of us now. So we're sorry about that, but that's the way it works. And while you're there, go to the top tab where it says Connect and click on Subscribe to our newsletter. And there's a form there to fill in. You just have to give your name and your email address and then click Submit. And in our newsletter, every month, a couple of times a month, 2 or 3 times a month, you get all sorts of things, not only inspiration and recommendations and reviews and things like that, but also there's always a discount on something or other that we're doing. So you get all sorts of lovely, great information if you sign up. So why not give it a try? Sign up and give it a try and see how wonderful it is. It's Tamsin who does that, not me. Okay, so let's get started. And I'm just going to drop paint in and I'm going to practice mixing on the paper, basically. So I'm going to let things just flow and try out different things. So you can see what I'm doing and you can see what happens. I can't even begin to put words to it. It's not easy to describe, but this is going to teach you an awful lot about the way paint works. And we've been doing this challenge that you probably remember, going in squares, but doing a different doodle every day. This is kind of an extension of that in a way. Because this is what we're going to do is we're going to do the whole thing in different forms like this, and then we're going to embellish it. You might want to wet a whole area like this. There's so many different things you can do, to be honest. I got the idea of doing this, I think, did I say this already? Kate calls it a kind of sampler. I got the idea of doing it as a sampler from her. I'm doing it a bit differently though, so you will find her version in her original version in her book, but I'm doing different kinds of patterns. So I just thought it'd be nice to kind of just follow her idea, but, you know, do it a slightly different way. I do have somewhere here some metallic paint. This is Lightwish. I think it's about €16 for this box. And there'll be a description, in the description below, there'll be all these links if you're interested in trying out any of the things that I'm using. These metallics, you can just drop them in. If you use enough water, you can drop them in like that. And when they dry, you'd be surprised. Sometimes, anyway, not always, doesn't always work. But when it dries, sometimes you get some interesting effects. So this one, I just put some paint down at one end. I'm going to put a bit more and let it do its thing. This one, I'm going to paint clean water first, and then put the paint in and let it do its work. See that? Look at that. And this one, I think I might do a bit of both. Why not? And I'm going to put it there. Oh, look at that. You can always feed more paint in just by touching again and pumping. We call this pumping the paint in, and that will push it, and you can tip it as well if you want it to move. And you could pump into here as well. This particular red, this is Indian red, it's got a slight granulating effect. Can you see that? The texture here, it sort of goes into the texture, but it's also granulating a little bit, so going into little clumps. And I'm going to go down into the beigey colour, and let's do a circle or two. We'll do a few circles like this, different sizes, different amounts of water. You can drop water in like that and see what happens. You could paint around the outside. Like that. I suppose I should use a bit of the red. You can go around the outside again. Pick up some intense red and put it in the middle and let that do its thing. And then we could go with the intense one around the outside of this one. Quite thick in the middle there. I think it needs one more down here, so we'll just let that one suck. If you put the camera on and you record yourself while you're painting, you can film this and slow it down and see exactly how it happens. That's another thing that you can do. Actually, I'm going to get out a different brush. I'm going to choose a quill brush, this one here. It's not a new brush, but it is a quill, and I'm going to see what happens if I just load that brush and just press down like that. And this brush could be quite good for doing things like leaves. I've got two colours on the brush there. Pink from here, plus I've just added, and then I'm going to turn the brush over and go the other way. That's interesting, isn't it? That's one way of doing leaves. And I could use this brush for just filling in with water. It's very pale pink because there was a bit of paint left in the brush. And I think I will, let me see, what shall I do? I think I might just put some écru, I think they call this colour. And then I'll go with the red and we'll just do some droplets like this. Okay, and let us take the beige. This is another kind of écru, and that's just one stroke. Sometimes as you do this, you'll change your mind about what you're doing. I do often. So I might have started out intending to do one thing with this one and actually ending up doing something different. So I'm going to now just pump in a bit more pigment down the end here. And I'm going to let that do whatever it wants to do. I switch back to my other brush. Same thing here. We put more pigment down this end. I'm just going to suck that out there a little bit. If you want to suck paint out, you just wash your brush off, then dry it briefly on a towel and use it to lift up. It works like a little vacuum cleaner. Okay. And now for this one, let's see, what should we do here? So we do some it's kind of interesting, isn't it? And let's have a little bit of a mixture, shall we? And kind of a sludgy pink. And I think I'll probably get my gold paints out to do some of the embellishment, I think. And let me see, I think I'm going to fill in the square again with white, not white, clean paint. Obviously I didn't have enough caffeine this morning. Clean water, clean water, clean water. Let's put some pink, Indian red. There we are. That one. And then perhaps we will, I think we do some more circles. We need some more circles. Very interesting the way it runs. Don't mess around with it too much. Coming to the end now. Okay, so that's that. And I'm looking at this here and I'm thinking there's a little bit too much paint there. It's not going to dry very easily, so I'm just going to hoover that up. So what I'm doing is I take, to vacuum these up, I just wipe my brush on there and then just use it as a little vacuum cleaner. Just sucks up superfluous paint, and you could do that anywhere. You might say, oh, I got a bit too much there too, so you might want to suck that up, but don't go too mad about sucking up the paint, because you want some variety and you want these lines. I'm hoping that we're going to get, I'm going to put some more strong paint in there, hoping that we'll get some backgrounds. Okay, so really I need to let that dry naturally. I might not, because I might need to get on with the job, so to speak. But ideally, I would let that dry naturally. So I'm going to put that over here for a minute. And I'll just quickly talk about pens. I'm having a bit of a problem at the moment with my white pen. In other words, it doesn't work. I need to get some more. If you don't have a white pen, but you've got some white gouache like this, this one comes in a bottle, and you can use a small brush like this. You can pick up the white paint on the tip of your brush, and you can do a perfectly good row of dots. You can do smaller ones too, like that. And you can, in fact, also do lines. You can also buy white ink, so you can do lines. And it is opaque white paint, so this probably needs a bit of a stir, which I'll do in a minute. So you can do that. I have this one, which I quite like, the Artex acrylic marker. And this one does nice big dots, like that. And you can make it do smaller ones too, but not very tiny. I don't think I can go down much smaller than that. And it will do nice lines. So that one's good. Normally I have a gel pen, a white gel pen like this one. But I know this one won't work because it doesn't, I don't think it's got any ink in it. I think yeah, it's empty. But that's good when they're new. When they're new, they're good. And it is true to say that really you do need to store them lying down, which I'm very bad about doing. These are Artistro white paint pens, and these are okay as well. You can do smaller dots with these. Again, they're best if they're stored lying down, and some people swear by them. and say that they're much better than these gel pens. And to be honest, I mean, the gel pens aren't really intended for watercolor painting. They're really intended for writing, doing calligraphy, writing on colored backgrounds, which are smooth. The problem with watercolor paper is that it's a bit textured, so it makes it actually quite difficult for the poor little pen to work. But I think I should be okay with those. So this one and this one, not that one's retired. Then as far as pens go, I've been using an Edding 1800 for my straight flat line work recently. This is quite nice, there's nothing wrong with that. My favourite though is my Tombow. I call it my thick and thin pen because you can do thin lines and you can do thick lines with the same nib, and even better still, you can do graduated lines like this, which I find very fulfilling. I like that, and you can get good effects when you're doing outlining on flowers and things like that. I was just doing this morning. Hang on a second. These flowers here, they were my practices for my challenge for this month, for day 4. Yeah, day 4 was Simple Bloom, and so I was using the Tombow pen to do the outline around the flower, which makes a big difference to the impact. Okay, so there's those, and I've got a gold pen here. This is called a Slicky. It's made by Pentel, I think, yes, and it's lovely. I think it's really cute. It's very small compared to these great hulking man-sized monsters. I mean, look at it. Can you see the difference? And I don't know why they make these so fat for ham-fisted people, but this one is very delicate. It makes you feel like a lady, and you want to crook your little finger when you write with this or draw with it. And it does make a nice gold line. So we can show that, for example, on some nice green here. I could write okay, so that does show up. Might have to tilt it a little bit to see it properly, but it does show up, and I mustn't forget to do that. We can use that for lines on our sample sheet. What else? What else do I need as far as pens go? You could use all sorts. You could use brush pens, you know, the ones that have got colour in them, like this kind of thing. This is a Poetique one, but there are other brands. I don't think you can buy the Poetique ones anymore. But this is like, it's a bit like a paintbrush, really. This is just light grey. And you can get some good effects with that. So that's something to have in your armoury. Very fun to paint with. What else have I got? Well, of course, there's all these coloured markers. We've got all of these, the ones which are like the white Artex one, but they come in colours. So we have a set of those that we can turn to as well. And on there, we can also do dots. And I've got a black one of that as well. So it makes you think mixed media is really the way to go. So although these are pens and you think drawing, no, you don't need to draw. You just need to be able to make dots and lines in a random way, and that's all you need to do. That's all you need to be able to do, rather. Okay, let's have a look at our backgrounds. It's not far off. I think I'm going to dry it. So before we get to the point where we want to actually use the pens that I've just been talking about, I'm going to put another layer of watercolor paint onto these, at least onto some of them, and show you different ideas for different things that you can try out, because sorry, I'm struggling with my chair. One of the good things about watercolor is that you can layer it. So you can come into your existing design and you can paint over the top of it in watercolor, and it won't disturb what's underneath as long as you don't go too crazy. And you can, create florals. You can do little circles, either empty circles or filled in circles, like this. And you'll be surprised how nice they will actually look. And you can add a little bit more paint in to the center like we were doing before, and let the whole thing spread. And if you feel it's gone a bit too dark, don't forget you can always blot with a tissue just to lift things out. Now, honestly, do you need to be able to draw to be able to paint that flower? No, you really don't. And then we're going to put some leaf shapes along here. And I'm only using the same colour really that is underneath, but when you have two layers of it, one on top of the other, you'll find that it will darken up quite a bit. And on this one here, I'm going to do the same thing. Same motif as I've put there. I'm going to put a bit of paint in the center and let that bleed, and then I'm going to put some little dots around here. Then I'm going to pick up some darker color and just drop it into where I've done these leaves to make them a bit darker. Okay, so that's the first one. And then we could these ones up here, they look to me as if they need a little bit of form. So I'm going to put some circles around these dots that I did with wet on wet. And we will come in again later with pen, and I'm just blotting that one out a little bit because it's a bit darker than the others. So there we are. Let me see, what else could we do? We could do some little press down shapes. And we could do some going that way. It's a bit like printing, needs to be stronger. Okay, and what else? We could do a leaf. We could do a biggish kind of leaf. Maybe we'll do a big leaf design here. And the great thing about this is that you will constantly surprise yourself with what you do. And you don't plan anything in advance. Just let the water do the work. Let the paint do the work. Follow where it leads you. Don't try and control everything. Just start. Okay. Don't hesitate. You believe in yourself. This is what it means to believe in yourself, to do it. Not to talk about doing it or think about doing it or to do it perfectly, but just to do it. Let us take some beige, and we could do some lines here. As I often say, it's a good idea to practice water control by doing something like this. And, don't be trying to be perfect. It's not possible. Just practice finding out what your brush can do. Finding out about design as well, because as you do this kind of thing, you will find that you begin to discover what makes a good design. I'm going over this because I just thought I would, and making these ones lighter. I might make these ones darker. And let's go back to the beige. Oops, that's not light enough. There we are. Okay, I think I'll leave that one like that. And I think I will do a little leaf up here too. And leave that one like that. Maybe here we might just do a row of dots. And I think we've got something on most of them. We haven't got anything down here yet. Let us do a nice spiral there. Okay, and then I might do I think I've got something on most things now. I think maybe we might need something here. I think this is going to turn out to be quite a long video. Okay, I think that's everything. We've tried out lots and lots of different designs there. So now I have to let that one dry. Okay, so that's dry now, and I'm going to quickly start embellishing this with some dots. And you can do whatever you feel like you want to do. And it's true to say that rows of little dots are quite satisfying. They probably will give you, a certain amount of dopamine, if you're looking for something like that. Another thing you can do is little lines, and where you have a border like this, you can kind of just go over it or just to the side of it and emphasize the border. You can go into your leaves on your stem and give them some nice white veins. And don't lose confidence. When you start, you might think, oh, I don't like the look of that, but it will improve if you keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop too soon. A lot of people get halfway through a painting and they think they've ruined it. They think it's finished, but it isn't. It's just not finished. if you see what I mean. Just keep going. You can use the fat one if you want bigger dots, like, or bigger marks. Use the fat one. So it is quite strong. You can, what else can you do? You can do parallel lines like this. And you can do black ones as well, which is quite nice. We might want to do some here, for example. And we could repeat this using our thick and thin pen. What else can we do? We could take some gold and we can do some veins on these darker leaves here. And you might think, oh, it doesn't show up because it's not much, but it's like all the best embroidery. It's what eventually emerges. You know, you have all these tiny little stitches, or in this case, tiny little lines or dots, and in themselves they aren't much, but when you finish and you've gone over the whole thing, you'd be surprised. I know I keep saying you'll be surprised, but you will, because it all adds up. And although this is only a, what you might call a sampler, a bit like an embroidery sampler, we all did those when we were at school, didn't we? You'll get some ideas from this, and you'll keep this to hand, and then next time you do one of these kind of paintings, then you'll use them, these ideas. And I think it's quite nice to use this little slicky pen, just draw little narrow gold lines over the colour lines that you've done. It just somehow improves them. And if you can hear a funny noise in the background, that's my dog eating a bone, a nyla bone. Okay, so we're getting somewhere, aren't we? And what have I got here now? I'm going to put some, maybe not. I'm going to, what am I going to do here? I think I might do some interlocking boxes. And here we might do some lines coming out like that. And you can take your black pen again and you can do dots at the ends of those lines, for example, or this side. You could go round some of these shapes. Makes them look more like leaves. Or fingernails, they look a bit like, don't they? I'm going to put some big dots in there. I'm not entirely sure I like the fingernail look. Okay, and let's just do a nice little cluster of little various sized. If you press hard, you can get bigger ones. Okay, so we can have that. And I think we're probably getting there. I'll put a few more up here. So I think that's enough. I think that will do. So there we are. We have explored quite a lot of possibilities there. We've had a fantastic hour or two of painting. We haven't drawn anything. We've just explored our own inner world and allowed a few things to emerge. And I can see more things I would like to do here. I might carry on and turn these into flowers. These could be the centers of the flowers. And you could put backgrounds on. You could do more of this. I quite like those little interlocking squares there. I think that's good. This shows really nicely the granulation of those colors. I think, was that the one I put the gold on? I think it is, isn't it? I think it was that one. And it has actually, yeah, it is. Maybe you can see, yeah, you can see that, can't you? So that's actually really fun. And we could do more of that. And if I had more time, I really have got to stop now. If I had more time, I'd get my gold paint out and I would do a few bits and pieces with that. So on that note, don't forget the newsletter. Go to the website, please, sign up for our newsletter and let us send you all the discount information and everything that we have from time to time and everything else as well. And while you're over there on the website, you could buy yourself a studio pass for the princely sum of $1, which gives you 10 free downloads of our sketches each month. And if you become a member of Patreon or of the YouTube membership, then you get unlimited free download sketches. So that's not bad, is it? I will let you go now, and I will see you again soon. Have fun, enjoy, and don't worry. Everything will be okay. It'll all turn out for the best in the long run. So bye-bye for now, everybody, and take care. Bye-bye.